Welcome back. We're looking at Al-Qaeda 20 years after its founding. What sort of global threat does it present and what is its future? For the discussion, we're joined by author and journalist Christopher Hitchens, who's in Stanford. From San Francisco, Justin Raimondo, the editorial director of antiwar.com. And from Boston, Nazar Janabi of the Washington Institute. Let's get back to our discussion with a call from Arya in Washington. What would you like to say, Arya?
Thank you for good programming. My question is, if 5+1 are serious about getting rid of Al-Qaeda, don't you guys think they should help Iranian to get rid of this regime, fanatic cleric regime in Iran, and that would make it much easier to get rid of the Al-Qaeda and other, because now Iran with all that we have in oil and the price of oil being so high, they got all kind of money to support this terrorism.
Arya, let's see. Well, let's see. Justin Raimondo, do you feel Iran has anything to contribute in this equation in trying to fight Al-Qaeda?
Well, I don't think they're in the mood to fight our enemies, since we keep threatening them, threatening to invade them, threatening to obliterate them. So I don't think they're really going to be in the mood to help us. Though maybe if Obama gets in, they might.
Although the caller was saying, Justin, is that perhaps by changing the regime in Iran, it might have an impact on the future of Al-Qaeda. It might actually help to get rid of Al-Qaeda.
Well, it's interesting how, people think that we can just change regimes and go around the world and change this regime and change that regime just like we're gods. Well, you know what? We're not gods. And the thing is that we keep acting like we are, which is why Al-Qaeda is now celebrating its 20th anniversary today and is not extinct. It's outrageous.
Could I make an observation? Could I make an observation about this?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Christopher.
Sure.
It was actually the Clinton administration, if you remember, a little while ago, about 10 years ago, actually intervened to stop the Iranians from carrying out their threat to invade Afghanistan to remove the Taliban. In other words, the questioner is making a very interesting point. If you may remember, because the Taliban had been massacring the Hazara, the ethnically Persian and mainly Shia population of Afghanistan, the Iranians sent a delegation to Mazar al-Sharif of their diplomats, who were arrested by the Taliban and publicly executed. It was a famous occasion. The Iranians moved their armor up to the Afghan border. The United States, in that case, prevented an invasion of a Muslim country by another one. Since that time, it's true, some Al-Qaeda people on the run have taken refuge in Iran and may even be, in some sense, said to be sheltered by them. But it's not going to be forgotten by anyone in Persia that Al-Qaeda in Mesopotamia in particular is a highly sectarian organization that regards Shia as heretics who can be slaughtered at any time in the name of God.
Rita's on the line
that's the sort of injustice, to borrow a phrase from Mr. Raimondo, that never seems to come onto the screen of antiwar.com. Al-Qaeda blew up the UN office in Baghdad.
Well, it wasn't my phrase, Christopher. It was a question.
Al-Qaeda.
Okay, gentlemen, listen, we have Rita on the line from Egypt.
Al-Qaeda blew up the UN headquarters in Baghdad because the UN envoy, Sergio de Mello, had been responsible for the independence of East Timor. They were protesting against that piece of justice and liberation, which they regarded as un-Islamic.
All right, let's get Rita on the line from
That's what
Egypt.
you're up against.
Egypt's on the line with a question or comment. Go ahead, Rita.
Yeah, I want to know now that Musharraf, the people of Pakistan, are now pushing Musharraf out of power. What is the American doing about that? Because the Americans are not there to support Musharraf. Because some years back, they wanted Musharraf to help them to fight Al-Qaeda. And today, none of them is there to support Musharraf. Why is it so?
Nazar Janabi, what impact do you think this change in Pakistan might have on Al-Qaeda's future, especially as many of the Al-Qaeda sort of key figures are said to be there?
Well, the change that happened in Pakistan it's a normal change. We can't expect a leader who was supported by the United States or by whoever in a democratic country to remain remain forever. This change was based on an election that happened in Pakistan, and the new government. I'm not sure it's gonna change course or be supportive of Al-Qaeda or Taliban. On the contrary, as I see, they'll continue to try to undermine Al-Qaeda's presence in their region and try to influence Al-Qaeda's presence in Afghanistan.
Christopher, how do you rate the way life or quality of life has changed around the world, particularly in places like the United States, where a lot of civil liberties and freedoms seem to have diminished in response to this so-called war on terror? Al-Qaeda seems to have made quite a big mark in the way we all lead our lives nowadays.
Surely. I mean, I had to take part as an individual in a lawsuit. I'm a named plaintiff in a lawsuit in the United States against the administration, sponsored by the American Civil Liberties Union, on the wiretapping case, for example. And I've written quite a lot about undergoing the experience of waterboarding, which I regard as quite self-evidently crossing the line of that constitutes torture. And it's been very depressing to see how panicked and stampeded some democracies have been in the face of this vicious jihadist organization. One of the many reasons I'm against these kinds of response, phone tapping, waterboarding and so forth, as well as being against them in principle, is this. As the Iraqi people have so bravely demonstrated, Al-Qaeda doesn't have a chance in hell of ever winning the hearts and minds of an Arab Muslim society in a fair fight. They repudiate it on their own. Al-Qaeda's defeat is certain. It's inscribed in its own mad program and its own cruel and sadistic and suicidal, literally suicidal, actions. So we have no right to throw away our ancient liberties. All we need is to be very patient and very intelligent and, of course, very ruthless.
Justin, Raimondo, what would you propose as actions, steps to take against Al-Qaeda the way it is now that might have an impact on at least improving the quality of life for the majority of people and making a dent in Al-Qaeda's influence?
Well, if I knew that, maybe I'd be head of the FBI. Though it seems to me that Al-Qaeda...
You advocate withdrawal and surrender?
Excuse me, Christopher.
Sorry, Christopher.
I read your site. You advocate withdrawal and surrender, and you make excuses that say Al-Qaeda is the product of injustice.
Well, let Justin have his...
You carry their water for them.
Let Justin have his say in what he would suggest.
This is a great literature.
Sure. He already has said his say.
Christopher Hitchens.
Thank you. Let's
a well-known liberator.
Let's get a call on the line. We've got just a couple of minutes left. Rosette's on the line from London. Rosette, what would you like to add?
Yes, my name is Rafat, and I wanted to comment about these two speakers, Christopher Hitchens and the other person from San Francisco. I just heard the person from San Francisco, indirectly supporting Al-Qaeda and saying that, the Northern Alliance was a pro-Soviet sort of movement. I'm from Afghanistan, and I would like to say, confirm what Christopher Hitchens said, that Al-Qaeda not only massacred thousands and thousands of Shia Muslims, but also religious Sunni Muslims. The best example was Ahmad Shah Massoud, who was the most successful commander against the Soviet Union. Yeah. And then they assassinated him as well. For Afghans, if you live under Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, you realize what a brutal force it is.
Right.
Actually, it's so easy to speak from some
Rasid, let me put this. That's true, Christopher. One of the main issues that people get confused about what Al-Qaeda is about nowadays, because it seems like almost everyone could be an enemy of Al-Qaeda. Isn't that the case?
Well, there's no reason for anyone except a fanatic to be anything but an enemy of it. No.
In terms of, what our caller was saying about, targets.
If you wonder what they might do to our society, look at what they've done to Muslim societies. Look how they reduced Afghanistan to complete peonage and slavery. Look at the way that 50% of the population of the Muslim world, the female part, is considered subhuman. For example, look at the damage they've done to the economy and society of Algeria during the period of Takfiri so-called insurgency. It wasn't an insurgency, it was a criminal gangster attempt to destroy Algerian society. It was defeated by the Algerian people themselves.
So it's going to be very
once again,
as they will be defeated in
people like Christopher Hitchens, who are waging war on the entire world.
Well, gentlemen, listen,
the Algerian FLN doesn't meet that. The Algerian FLN doesn't.
I'm sorry to have to interrupt you, but we've run out of time and we hit our out point here. But thank you very much for taking part with this. Thanks very much, gentlemen.